I'm Van.
I'm John.
Hey, John. So, what got you in the food business?
Oh, it was actually kind of a funny story. Like when I was younger, I was all into music. I was, and so all my friends were bag boys at Kroger in Atlanta, and so I got a job at the Waffle House because it was $1 more an hour. And so when all my friends were trying to figure out what they wanted to do, I realized that I really kind of dug what I was doing, and so I quit and I went across the street to another steakhouse, got a job washing dishes. And then just moved my way up. At 17, I was their head grill cook, and they're like, this is really what I love to do. It's an easy way to, I don't know, there's never a dull moment, really.
Well, really, the Waffle House is pretty good training ground, I'm sure.
Yeah, actually, there have been times I've worked there where they would bring culinary students in and be like, this guy will eat your lunch over here. And I'm like, hi.
But what I love about it, at least your food's being made when you order it.
Yeah, right.
I mean, they're cooking it right there.
There's plenty of great stories from working at Waffle House.
Oh, I can imagine, especially the late shift.
Yeah, the late shift was the best. That was where
I might be a subject of some of those in
most likely. But so then realized it's what I love to do. And before I moved to Birmingham, I worked for a chef just in a little tiny restaurant that was a hot shot chef back in the 80s and just kind of retiring, a small restaurant. Yeah. And he just started teaching me things. Like, again, he went to CIA, so he started teaching me how to make stocks. And when you're trying to learn and you're not going to school, you're looking through your friends' culinary textbooks. And you're like, what is a coulis? And he's like, I will show you. Like, how do you make a stock? Like, how do I make bones taste yummy? And then, and you just kind of learn. And and it's never really looked back. When I kind of got to my mid-20s, I was like, is this really what you want to pour yourself into? And I realized it's like something that you'll never stop learning.
Right.
And
especially, like now with what y'all are doing with the farm and the, fresh to farm to table, or whatever the concept is.
The concept kind of gets irritating sometimes.
It does,
because people kind of play it off of it. They're like, I got some local tomatoes that I got from Murphy's Produce. We're farm to table. Everything's $4 more a plate. Thank you.
Yes.
And you're like, wait, we're actually we're learning how to be farmers with our farmers who are trying to learn how to be chefs. Like, it just feels like they're cheating.
Right. Exactly.
But the supply lines are so good now where we can get things that are local Alabama, like from Snow's Bend and all these things, that the chefs have this huge repertoire of people to pick from to get things.
Yes.
Where I've made the comment many times that we used to laugh when I was 21 that you'd pick great tomatoes in Alabama and then great tomatoes in California, and they wave at each other on the way past
exactly
each other.
Right. And they go from one to the other.
Yeah,
exactly.
And I think we have to pay homage to a lot of the old guys, the older guys that have really made sure that was available to the younger generation.
Speaking of the old guys, when I was growing up in it, it was the way it is now.
Yeah.
And then it all went institutional. But when I was a kid, we had a milkman, egg man, a guy that sold sugar. And so they were like independent providers of what we needed. And then, of course, the big institutional houses came along where they try to have everything you want on one truck. Yeah. And that's when you get into tomatoes waving at each other.
This is the way it is.
And like today, it was lettuce. No lettuce. It was just like lettuce is nowhere in the southeast today. And before in the old system, I just wait for the lettuce guy to come by. Right. There'd be somebody come by to peddle something at one point in the day. And it sounds like we're kind of going back to me, which is we're sourcing.
Well, that's a funny thing you say that. I remember we were having a conversation about it, and when it really meant something serious to me, besides just serving quality food, was when one of our pigs that we raised, we had our pork chops, and I had on the same day someone that was about 24, 25 that said it was the best pork chop they ever put in their mouth. And that's awesome, right? Yeah. And then I had an 81-year-old lady tell me she hadn't had pork like that since she was 17. Yeah. And that makes it important that we're closing a gap.
Sure.
And really supporting, there's a lot more younger farmers coming up because of it, because it's cool to farm again.
Oh, absolutely. See, I don't have the same pig my dad had. When he was cooking in the 50s, the pig I have access to today is not the same pig.
Yeah.
And so,
not even.
Yeah, through the years, to try to match that flavor and taste has been a challenge. And the way I've done it is I've just gotten down to where I just use a picnic. Yeah. I don't even use the butt side because it's just too lean and too bony. Yeah. But at least when I get a shank end, I can get knuckle meat and all of that is what makes barbecue good.
Oh, absolutely.
It's not just, we're kind of hung up on this Boston butt thing, which I'm not a fan of.
It's the palest part of the pig.
It really is.
It really is. Like, I mean, the shoulders are the way to go.
Yes. It's got every kind of meat on it. And really, my daddy used to tell me it's made for barbecuing because it's sheathed with the skin. It's got good moisture. It's got bone structure. But I would love to be able to have a local farmer provide me the pork. You know, this is kind of the way that we're seeing vegetables and things. But
you can't have my pigs, man.
Yeah, we're a few years away from that because, as you know, pigs fear me anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure you put a lot more pigs down than I have.
Yes, sir. 50-something years, I can put a lot of them down.
Yeah, it's an awful lot of shoulders.
But like I say, it's changed so much, the actual product itself. But what I like about all this now is we're getting back to sourcing where our food comes from. And that's really how we started years ago. We really did have a vegetable man, an egg man, and Lord knows if they had a license or where they were getting it, but you know, it didn't, at that point in time, it didn't matter. So, but we had a guy that would go and clean the sugar off the box cars when in shipment the bags would break.
Yeah.
And so they just left all that loose sugar in the car. Well, he'd sweep it all up and bring it down there. We'd run it through the sifter. It was just such a different way of buying things and doing things. And so I like to see it go back to that. I think y'all are definitely on the right track, what you're doing.
Well, that brings me to the old school. How I often wonder, like, you know, guys like yourself that have, you know, Bob Sykes barbecues and just know nationally. And it's an empire that you guys have built, and you know all the people that come in there, and see a lot of new people from across the country. Mm-hmm. And it's been that way for an extraordinarily long time. Is there any difference between food culture from back then to now, as opposed to how the public views food, or is, you know, now it's like you have Food Network and everyone's like, you know, chefs are rock stars, and I'm just like,
yeah,
no?
Yeah, it is. There's some people that. Well, you know, I barbecue at home, and they kind of, and so I have to work my way through that. And used to, everybody barbecued at home. It wasn't like, you know, I've got this sideline where I barbecue on the weekends. Everybody barbecued back then. You know, it wasn't like a special talent. Yeah. And so, what I've noted though is, when you make really good, fresh food and you serve it really quick, you know, I try to go from the pit to the plate. It doesn't matter what kind of foodie they are, they're going to love it.
Absolutely.
It's just got to come and be made that day, made fresh. And like I say, I try to go from the pit right to the plate and not leave it sitting in warmers. And
you lose something.
But the customers are a little more, with all these food shows now, they you know, I file it under they have just enough knowledge to be dangerous almost. But of course we, you know, play along with it. But back in the old day, it was, people didn't eat out every night when we first started. Eating out was just something maybe once or twice a week.
Yeah.
And then people's habits changed, and people that lived with just two people realized they could eat out cheaper and they could go buy all the groceries and cook it. And that's what I see now. A lot of people that are retired that just have no plan of buying groceries and cooking supper. So I just don't know what the future. We were talking this morning in the office though about how everything's at home now. You know, you get your groceries delivered to the house. You get all this delivered to the house. Is how much longer are they going to come to the dining room at the restaurant? And, you know, I still think with people eat, they need a connection with other people, like breaking bread, kind of that experience.
Absolutely.
But it makes you wonder in the future with everybody taking everything to their house and eating it, you know. Because I have no interest in doing that kind of delivery.
No,
actually, Mama said it's a lot better when they come to you.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what I've just done all these years.
Well, you know, I think that there's especially when it's your favorite barbecue restaurant, I think it's kind of an experience. A lot of people have been going to it since they were kids. Like I remember growing up in Georgia, the barbecue restaurant we used to go to, and it's funny because I tell my friends in Georgia, I'm like, you guys have nothing on Alabama barbecue, because I've gone back to that place and been like, this is awful. I will let that place be anonymous.
Yeah. Well, I love it though. I think you're right on.
I kind of wanted to backhand. I'm like, my entire life you've been screwing me. So, but yeah. So I mean, I think it's a thing. I mean, same thing that I love about, you know, being a little more on the higher end, or is being able to share like people's anniversaries and things with them.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, it's there's something you just can't really replicate from just being social, just being able to break bread with a room full of people, even if you don't know. That's one of my favorite things about being such a small restaurant is people meet each other to the next table. They're like, oh,
yes,
and that's something cool, especially in such a fast-paced world we live in.
Well, we've got a couple that met in Bob Sykes and got married, and they come back every year for their anniversary, and it's over 30 years now. And they met right there in Bob Sykes.
That's awesome.
That, and I had this story where this guy came in. I went to school with him, hadn't seen him in a number of years. He came in the restaurant. I said, "What are you doing?" Well, he said, "Well, my daddy's in the hospital down here." I said, "Oh, I hate to hear that. He's not doing good." And I was up there hanging out with him, and I said, "Well, Daddy, is there just anything I could do for you right now? I mean, I know you're laying there. What can I do for you?" And he said, "Boy, if you go down there and get me one of them Bob Sykes barbecues, I think that would just make my night."
Yeah.
That's when I realized you're not just throwing food over the counter.
Nah.
It's like you're talking about with anniversaries. When you're doing food on the right level, you're touching people really in a way that it's hard to explain, really, isn't it? I mean, there's a connection there. So,
I'll tell you,
I don't think that'll ever go away.
No, well, and I'll tell you a cool story how when I finally realized that food was the connection that food has as opposed to. I didn't understand the culinary arts part when I was young. I was 17, 18. And I remember when I was 18, I was in downtown Atlanta. I was just skateboarding around and I smelled some food. And I was like, it smells different. There's spices going on I don't really know. So I look up in this old shopping center and I walk up there and it was like a Middle Eastern, well, actually it was a North African, it was a Moroccan restaurant. And so I was like, they're all like doing this. I was like, ooh, I'm going to eat that. So I walk in and like these guys jump up. They're like, no. This is a private party. This is they're the family's. It was the grandmother's birthday, and then she stops. And she's like, no, come in. And so I was like, cool, So I come in, and I've got piercings and all this weird stuff. And I was like, I look kind of suspect, but whatever. It's a party. So I come sit down, and we ate all this food, and like I'd never had Moroccan food. I'd never tried sumac. I'd never tried harissa and all these things. So I'm just like loving it, just destroying it. And she's loving it, and she didn't speak any English. And actually, the whole conversation we had was either through grunts, looks, or the 7-year-old girl sitting next to us that was literally translating. And one of the things she told me, she's like, that she was, her grandmother thought it was awesome that she saw a 17-year-old American guy that's just loving food that was like passed on, especially in their culture where sometimes food is on the table is like the only thing you get,
right?
And so it's super important. And then I realized that we're sharing emotions over bites, and then I was like, it opened up a whole different world of what it actually means to people. Right. And I think that's the day that I started cooking more passionately and realized that there's this whole world of things to learn and how it can affect people, and it's awesome.
It sustains you. It really does.
It does, because it's not the easy work in the kitchen. That's definitely not.
I always say you're only as good as your last meal.
That's the truth. Absolutely. You guys have anything good coming up at Bob Sykes?
Yeah, we do. In addition to the 60th anniversary, I've got the 8th annual Bob Sykes Barbecue and Blues Festival, downtown Bessemer at the Bartleben Park. I got 6 blues acts. The last guy up is a Grammy winner. Every year I've tried to spend a little more on my talent, and I wanted to assemble a blues lineup that blues people would want to drive a few miles to come and see, and so we've got an incredible lineup from the first all the way to the end. We have a kids corner every year where you can just kind of leave your kids there. The park is fenced in. We also have the VIP experience, VIP tickets, which are well worth the price of it, I might add. Check into that, and really you can find what you need at bobsykesblues.com, but it's May the 20th, 2017, the Bartleben Park. Gates open at 11, music starts at 12, goes to 8 o'clock. We'll have food for sale throughout the day, so once you come in, bring a chair, blanket. There's really no need to leave. We have plenty of adult beverages for everyone. So, and we usually have a craft beer that'll sponsor, like the VIP tent. So, this is going to be the 8th one. It's going to be the best one, and you live and learn. And in fact, I can tell you that I actually turned down a mechanical bull today. A guy wanted to bring to the festival. So, like I say,
how do you turn that down?
Get smart. Yeah,
adult beverages and a mechanical bull. What else do you need?
Do you have your insurance? Well, it's okay. I think we'll leave the bucket horses off this year. But
I'll get Joe Terry. I'll go down there with Joe Terry.
You really should.
I know he'll be there.
Yeah, Joe is a big music guy.
Yeah.
I see him a lot at Blackjack at symphonies and stuff.
Yeah,
and
he's always
he actually buys a VIP ticket, so you need to do that.
I'll get one with him.
May the 20th at the Bartleven Park, downtown Bessemer.
We're on it.
That sounds great. Thanks.